Most experts lecture about education. Dr. Layne Pethick lived through it. And the classroom didn't just fight back. It stabbed him twice. You do a lot of work with brains and brain health and kids.
We're not allowing them to just be creative, think outside the box.
For 30 years, he's been inside the emotional war zones of American education.
When we standardize too much, we're telling kids what to think rather than how to think.
Yeah.
We wouldn't still be talking about our education system the way we do if it was working.
This isn't about test scores. It's about the development of a human mind.
Reading's literally the hardest thing the human brain ever has to learn in its lifetime. Is it more important that I'm reading at age 4 or that I'm still reading at age 40?
Yeah. What would you tell kids and parents to keep them reading when they're 40?
You're actually the #1 precursor to whether your child's going to read or not.
Most educators teach theory. He survived impact.
I have dealt with behaviors that most human beings would run away. I have been hurt in this job. I've had broken bones.
And he says our kids aren't just struggling academically, they're emotionally starved.
Technology is one of the more addictive things on the planet.
Digital heroin.
Digital heroin, yeah.
Your child's addiction, it's engineered.
Blue light tricks your brain into thinking it's daytime. My melatonin production actually halts.
Stops. Today on Y'allcast, Dr. Layne Pethick exposes what's crippling our children and how to save this generation before it's too late. Why does that help?
Play, movement, and fun are actually the top interventions for academics and behavior.
This isn't just a conversation, it's sounding an alarm.
We gotta unplug ourselves and plug back into the world.
Howdy, howdy, y'all. Today we've got a great guest. Dr. Layne Pethick is here with us. He's a neurocognitive behavioral specialist for kids in all school systems, mostly in Texas. Today we're going to talk about what's going right with schools, what's going wrong with schools, what's up with screen addictions, what's up with blue light, behaviors, and what you can do. And we're going to tell you, you need to go outside.
Yes.
Thanks for being here, Dr. Pethick.
Oh, for sure. Anytime.
So glad to see you. Thank you for coming all the way over. So as we said in the intro, you do a lot of work with brains and brain health and kids. Tell me what's your superpower?
My superpower? I think just never stop learning. I'm always curious about everything that goes on. Always asking why, always trying to figure out why. My world, I may have a little bit of what people always call ADD, ADHD.
Okay.
And I tell people, I think that's been my superpower. There's always something going on in my brain. There's always something fishing around, things and thoughts and ideas. And I I don't know, there's a curiosity about why do humans do what they do?
Okay.
And just the kind of the cool chaos that humans are. And why our behaviors are what they do. How do we learn better? How do we grow more? How do we just become better people for the planet kind of thing is where I just have this, I don't know, I have this desire to find out.
That is crazy cool because I have the same thing with my ADD, and I didn't realize not everybody was like this, where the brain always is going and always thinking.
Never stops.
Never stops.
Nope.
Like, oh, what is that? Oh, how does that work? What is that?
Like,
shiny object.
Like the greatest thing was that movie Up.
Yes.
Was it Disney or whatever with the dog squirrel? Like that was like, oh, there it is.
That's me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So you working within the Texas school system?
I work for Region 10 Educational Service Center, which is a service center hub for districts. So Texas is split into 20 regions.
Okay.
I'm technically at Region 10, but I do work all around the state. I don't know. I want education to be better. I want children's outcomes to be better. And knowing about the brain, how the brain works, how the brain learns, to get it out there in the education system to me is just the end all be all for what I want to do in this career.
Wonderful. Man, I think of education and kind of the institutionalized systems that are in place. Some of it, I understand why. Some of it, I can't stand and can't understand why. What's the number one not fun thing about the way schools are set up right now that you would change?
I just think the fact that we're we're so boxed in on our expectations of what we're wanting our kids to have that we're not allowing them to just be creative, think outside the box, uh, critical thinking skills, problem solving skills. Um, I get that there's curriculum that we need to teach, but there's also probably a lot of curriculum that really doesn't need to be taught.
What
There,
would you get
there.
rid of?
I don't know if we have time.
Okay, the top two.
So I think a lot of it is we just got to go back to having kids think. I think when we standardize too much, then we're telling kids what to think rather than how to think.
Yeah.
And I get you need some of each, but you need a lot more of how do you think, not what do you like. Just how do we teach kids to think and problem solve? I've got to talk to big businesses. I've talked to tech companies. I've talked to different places that outside of the education field, and their biggest thing is like stop telling them what to think and teach them how to problem solve, critical think, and all that kind of stuff. And
What is the number one, like history, science, philosophy, religion? What's the number one thing that helps kids to learn to think?
I think every aspect can help them learn to think if we allow them to discover some things on their own and ask the questions they need to. Like, I think it's all on how we present it out. I think we need science, we need math,
Hmm.
we need to understand our history, we need to understand a lot of things, but not so much adult driven direction on what you're going to learn, but ask kids questions, get kids interested in figuring out, and that curiosity piece is
Yeah.
what we need to look at. And how do we pull that? I tell people we as human beings have just lost that being curious piece.
Hmm. What's funny is we did Catholic school with our kids and then homeschool, and I
Mm,
feel like the number one thing that helped our kids was reading and then writing to get
for sure,
the
reading.
thinking to, all right, what am I reading? How am I absorbing it? What am I taking away from it? Now, how do I explain what I just absorbed?
So the literacy skills are huge for me.
Yeah.
Reading is an absolute must. I think one of the things that we need to talk about and learn from it is reading's literally the hardest thing the human brain ever has to learn in its lifetime.
Why is that?
It comes from like several different parts of your brain have to be developed, have to be, you have to have the skills taught, processed, and then all of those areas of the brain have to simultaneously be able to talk to each other for me to be a reader.
Yeah.
And our hurry up and read mentality in our culture kind of needs to step back a little bit and allow human beings the time they need to process reading, to read the right way, so that I tell people with the push for reading and you have to be younger and younger to read,
Hmm.
that's really not the most appropriate stance to take. I tell people, is it more important that I'm reading at age 4 or that I'm still reading at age 40?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I would
and
agree with that
and the
wholeheartedly.
communication piece of it too. When you give human beings the chances they need and the time they need to become the solid readers, it might be a lot later than what we're looking at in our school systems and what society's looking at. But then I'm probably going to be a reader for the rest of my life and be that person who's going to go out and find the information and understand and process and things like that.
So I never liked reading in high school. I didn't like it in college until I started getting into, actually, weirdly, Scandinavian literature, which was
Boy,
really weird.
that is way off where I thought you
Well,
were going to talk
no,
about.
but it's funny because I registered late. I couldn't get a class. I was like, oh, Scandinavian lit, check the box.
Whatever, I'll take it.
Well, I started reading it
That's
and I
awesome.
enjoyed it. And then I point to Scandinavian lit, and I cannot tell you a book I read. I can't tell you why, but that got me into actively reading and writing.
Yeah.
And so, what what would you tell kids and parents to do now to help? Like, okay, if their 4-year-old needs to be reading, I get that's a little bit early and kind of crazy. What would you tell parents and kids in order to keep them reading when they're 40?
So ironically, when I did parent training this past week, and I do parent trainings a lot around the state. I tell parents, you're actually the number one precursor to whether your child's going to read or not. What you do with literature and print and exposure from birth to age 5 is going to dictate once I hit formalized instruction whether I'm going to be reading quicker or not. And so I tell parents, expose your kids to books, take them out, read the back of a cereal box for God's sakes, do the puzzles, do that stuff with your kids that remember like highlights
Yeah.
magazines. You can't get anything better than highlights magazines. What the research shows is, and this is what a lot of people don't know, is 50%, almost 50% of my ability to be a reader is my emotion towards print. So it's
Define that.
not
What does that mean?
so the several parts of our brain are needed to be developed and kind of online for us to read. Out of those several parts, about 5 of them are hardwired to our emotional stores, to our emotional parts of our brain. So emotion plays a major factor in whether I'm going to read or not, which means I have to enjoy print. I have to like print. I have to enjoy books. I tell people it seems like those of us who I will walk into a Barnes and Noble and just the smell of books is just like,
Yeah.
yes. Now that there's Starbucks in there, I got my coffee addiction in there too. So it's just you'll never get me out of there.
Yeah, they quit smoking, so
Yeah.
you can't get your
I mean,
nicotine
so I
unless
got my
you're wearing a patch.
caffeine addiction in there too.
Yeah.
But I tell people it's that joy of being around books that we probably in the last 15 years, I mean, lack of a better
Yeah.
term, have kicked it out of our kids.
Right.
Because you need to read, take a test, need to read, take a test, need to read, take a test. Yet taking a test is nothing to excite me about why I need to
Well,
read.
no, and then that's a negative emotion.
It is.
There's fear or anger
And
or
then
stress or anxiety.
There's that 50% I need to be a reader. So now I may have the skill set to read. I have processed the skill sets. I understand how to read and what I'm supposed to do, but my emotion isn't there.
What
I-
can a parent, child, or teacher do to change that emotion?
I tell people we got to get back to enjoying reading. We got to get back to showing kids how enjoyable it is to read comic books, graphic novels,
Oh.
puzzles, all those things that I always tell people I still remember as a kid, it was joyous to take the honeycomb cereal box and turn it over and read the puzzles and do the
Right,
puzzles.
right.
And I had teachers that just let us go read whatever we wanted. I still remember in kindergarten going to check out the World Book Encyclopedia.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know what that is, look it up.
It's a volume
it's along a wall. But I remember just because I still couldn't read, I was 4.
Right.
She let me take it because she knew like it. I was excited about it, and if I'm excited about it, what am I going to want to do?
Yeah, and those had
Try.
pictures too, which
Yeah.
was really cool.
So I tell people it's human brains don't do things they don't enjoy.
Yeah.
And the tougher things we have to do in life, if there's no enjoyment factor to it, it is a struggle
Right.
and a half.
It's a root canal.
Like you're on the struggle bus, and the struggle bus has like 4 flat tires.
Right.
Like it's a struggle to get anywhere. So reading is one of those things.
So my kids see me with a book all the time. So I
yeah.
always have a book or a book on the desk or the table or whatnot. So as a parent, if you're a reader, do you feel like your kids are going to be readers
For sure.
too?
You're the role model for your kids.
So so bridging the gap between this TikTok 7-second attention span, digital dementia age, what would be like an easy transition to go back analog to something physical where
I think
these people are addicted?
It's a big push to have parents understand the role model you are for your kids. Again, I'll go back to what I tell a lot of parents, especially from birth to age 9. There's these things called mirror neurons.
Okay.
Mirror neurons are basically just what I said. It's like I tell parents, imagine you're holding a mirror up in front of yourself. Everything you do, every way you act, every expression you have is directed at your child, and your child's learning it from you. Like we know now that even if I don't give my child a cell phone or technology, but I, as the parent, am sitting on my phone, the mirror neurons actually will create the technology habit in your child just by them watching you.
So your parental habits, even if you don't give your kid a cell phone at age 12 and you're on it,
Yeah.
you're developing
that
the same
habit with your
bad
child.
habit with. Holy man!
So that's part of if I see my parents read or my parents take, let's start with like 3 to 5 minutes a day. We just sit down, put our cell phones away, and pick up a book and just read and enjoy. Start
Okay.
small. You don't have to make it for an hour. That would blow them out of the
So I
water.
get with the younger kids, you can read together with them. What
For
do you
sure.
do with the tweens and teens who are tired of mom and dad and don't even want to be next to you?
Well, and so that's where it gets sticky because as they get older, it's going to be harder to change those habits.
Mhm.
And I tell parents, and it may sound tough, but if you're paying for the cell phone, you control the cell phone.
Yeah.
I do not care what they say.
Yeah.
And you can go ask my son and daughter who are 32 and 30, well, soon to be 32.
Well, wait a
If
minute.
I'm
Wait a
paying
minute.
for it,
You look like you're 30.
well,
How
thank
the
you.
hell did you have a 32-year-old kid?
Started early.
Okay.
But,
must have been 4.
Drowning in blue light. It's messing with your melatonin and focus. Find your calm. Protect your vibe with Lucia Eyes.
Grab a pair at luciaeyes.com. We block blue light, not sleep. Use code YALLCAST for 20% off.
But it's interesting because it's like I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
And if I want to check your phone, I get to check your phone whenever I want because
Yeah.
I'm paying for this and this. But we have there's also a parenting issue in our country we've got to work on too,
Yeah.
where um it's okay I tell parents we have to teach our kids how to fail. We have to teach our kids that when you fail, here's how we build ourselves back up and what we need to do. Because we're running into there's a lot of parental issues in our country also that we're not raising resilient children. We're not raising children who can be resilient when when things get tough with us. And
Is that
so
because parents are going in and rescuing or
rescuing, yeah.
saving the kids
There's a
from
lot of
the
names for it. There's the bulldozer parents, the lawnmower
helicopter
parents, the smother mothers.
smother?
There's a whole lot of things, but
They
I
don't
tell
call it smothering.
smothering or yeah, we need one for fathers. But I tell people it's interesting because I get it. I was a parent. You want to help your kids as much as you can, but there's also a time we parents have to step back and allow our kids to have some difficulty.
Fall down.
And I tell
Bump their
parents,
head.
it's not our job to save them all the time. It's our job to stand next to them. And when they fall down, we teach them how to get back up.
Yeah. Yeah. So you use this term fueling your engine when you speak to educators and students.
Yeah.
It sounds like a really powerful metaphor. What do you use or tell them to use to fuel their engine?
So self-care is a big thing and self-help for a lot of us adults, parents, teachers, educators, most of us adults, especially in the United States, we're not doing well with self-care. And
What is that?
so so self-care.
Said the workaholic.
Actually, yes. So actually, ironically, people say, well, you're always one to talk because you're doing all this, you're running around, you got all these things and irons in the fire. I tell people though, I'm actually one of those weird human beings. I love what I do. My
Okay.
work isn't work to me.
Got it.
My work is a passion. My work is something that I like doing.
Yeah.
It brings me joy. I have fun with it. It is. I know it's weird. So anyone
no,
who
that's
listens to
okay. I
this, I
get
get
that.
it. There's people who will be like, "That's weird," but
Yeah.
I guess I'll preface it this way. People talk about mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a spin on it and I call it mental wealth.
Okay.
We always got to continue to invest in our own mental wealth. Parents, adults, we need to invest in our mental wealth first before we can pass it along to our kids.
How do you do that as a parent who's
So-
probably never done it?
So parents, I tell them, life is stressful. Life can hit us sideways. It's about taking care of yourself, the exercise, the diets, the watching your technology intake, sleep, trying to figure out ways to lower your stress, adjust your stress. It wasn't easy at first for me early on in life being a young parent. Money was not
Right.
Money was a big
Not
issue,
there.
stress, finances, figuring out, well, I got to work late. How do I get kids taken care of? Like all this stuff. And so there was a lot of stress. And then, life happens. Car accident happens where I don't have a
Right.
car now. And I tell people, but you have to find that time to breathe. You got to find that time to just have that time for yourself. And parents, sometimes it is okay to take a break from your kids if you can. Get some help. If somebody watch your kids. My family was all in Canada. I was in San Antonio.
Wow.
So it was about I hate to tell people, but sometimes it's like, okay, you know what? I need a little bit of sanity break. Let me I'm going to date myself, put the VHS tape in the VCR, watch this movie.
Watch
I'll
Toy
take a breather.
Story.
We'll breathe a little bit. We'll relax. Yeah. And it is. But that's my mental wealth. We got
So
to
you're
invest
making
in it.
deposits in your own mental
You are.
well-being. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you also talk about protecting yourself from too many withdrawals of your mental wealth account?
You do. You got to protect on where your withdrawals go from your account. And then, but I tell people, I don't always look at it as a withdrawal. Sometimes when you give out, what you get back gives you a bigger
Right.
return on your
Yeah.
investment. So your ROI on certain things you do. So I'll say like volunteerism,
Yep.
helping others, you get a bigger ROI on your investment. You give out, but what you're going to get back is going to push that savings account even
Yeah,
bigger.
it's a 2 to 3x on that for me.
And so I tell people that's probably why I sit where I sit, because my whole job is about giving back to people and helping out, and then the return on investment is just that much better for it.
So neurocognitive, neurobehavioral sciences, behavioral management and learning. That's a lot. I don't know what that means. What does that mean in like 4th or 5th grade English? I mean,
So what it actually means is when you understand how the brain works and how the brain develops and forms behaviors, you understand the human being you're working with,
okay.
and you have a better the more you understand me, the better you can help me.
Okay.
And so it sounds I don't know, complicated or whatever else. It really isn't. Human behavior is not hard. But we have to also understand that my behaviors are attached to memories that are somewhere in my brain and haven't been processed properly. And if you want me to change my behaviors, I have to be taught new behaviors. I have a behavior because it's working for me. It's kept me safe. It's done whatever its job is to do. But if keeping me safe means punching you or throwing a chair or screaming at you all the time, well, that's not really a great behavior for me to have through my life.
So there are things to keep you safe that could be positive, but then also could be negative for other people and for yourself.
Yeah. And that's why, like, when I work in the world of behavior, I work with lots of kiddos who they call them bad behaviors or destructive behaviors or, whatever it is. Well, they have those behaviors because that's the only thing that when this stressor hits my system, it's the only way I've learned how to protect myself or take care of myself or be safe.
Can we use like an extreme example? How would that be with something that really to me is disturbing and frightening, that it's kind of gone on this scale of kids who self-harm, self-mutilate, cut?
So self-harm so it's the non-suicidal self-harming
Right.
behaviors. So
How does that protect somebody?
So it can be one of two things. So sometimes what happens is it's an interesting dilemma where, like, we have kids who cut themselves, kids who pick at themselves, kids who pull out
Yeah.
eyebrows and eyelashes and things like that. Sometimes what it is, when you look at how our body reacts to pain, what our body does is it releases endorphins.
Okay.
And endorphins are our body's natural morphine.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty good hit you'll get. So when I feel that pain, morphine gets released. But what happens is for some, just that little bit of pain can like release enough morphine to just give me a peace,
A moment,
a moment.
momentary.
Yeah.
Okay. So like the kids the trichotillomania where they pick their hair, or even adults, so that they get a little bit of pain. And then-
Along with, it's also like a stimming behavior where
Yeah.
it's just a way to get, like, when I'm stressed out, it's like, oh, I got to do something. Some of us do this.
Yeah.
Like today when I was doing a training with teachers, there were some people kicking their feet.
Yeah.
Well, they're kicking their feet because sitting still for a long period of time trying to take in information can cause anxiety to the body.
Yeah.
And rather than me like losing it, my body just has me do these little things that helps it get out. The picking and all that other stuff, it's not always that reason. There can be some mental health deep-seated reasons, but we've seen in a lot of studies that release of endorphins just gives me enough
Okay.
to let it be okay for a while. Even though
Okay.
it's a split second, it's better than what I'm sitting in right now.
what would be, and I know that's kind of an extreme example. What would be your take or a teacher's take or a parent's take that they could do to replace that kind of dopamine release? What
So it's going to depend on the kiddo and what the behavior's serving. So if they're doing it like take the stimming behaviors for example, like the big rocking or the screaming or
Mhm.
whatever. Sometimes is it stress? It's anything that has a big push on the body or the system. So I tell people we're all like pressure cookers
Okay.
kind of thing. So think
Mhm.
of all of us being a pressure cooker. If you've worked with a pressure cook, you know there's always a release valve. A lot of us as we're growing up are taught, okay, when this happens, here's how this is your release valve. People teach you ways to release some of that stress.
Positively and negatively.
Positively, sometimes negative, but we hope that we're teaching them positive. Problem is sometimes kiddos aren't taught, or because of whatever circumstances they're coming from, that release valve isn't working properly,
Oh,
or they just don't have one, and so it's
oh,
got to come out somewhere else. And so
gotcha.
that's where sometimes we get the stimming and the rocking and some of those behaviors. It can get to a point where it is more self-harm type of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of it is sitting with that individual, trying to figure out when they're doing it, why they're doing it, because as people will tell you, they probably don't even realize they're doing it. It's almost an
Well,
automatic
yeah,
behavior for
no,
the
I see that with like the stimming and the twitching and then even some of the pulling of the hair with the trichotillomania stuff, but you have to make an active decision to go get a knife
and cut.
and cut yourself.
And that's
So,
usually the extreme one of with that endorphin release and that type of I need a bigger release to just get that reprieve. And so what you need to look at is, well, what's causing that stress and anxiety to your system?
okay.
And then once we've helped you try to figure it out, or we look at it, or what are the triggers that are causing you to start cutting? Like what triggers that behavior to occur? And then we have to start looking at how do we help you cope with it differently? What are some other outlets you can have rather than, the
Right.
severity of cutting and everything else. So
Are there like pre-warning signs to somebody who would be on the verge of becoming someone who does that?
I just think you're gonna want to just watch people's reactions to stress.
Okay.
It's stress reactions, which I think is where we really gotta I think as a society as a whole, we seem to cause a lot of stress, but we don't help stress much. Like we don't take care of it.
Right.
And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of these behaviors kind of coming back.
Yeah, big time.
Not just in children, but adults
Yeah.
too. And so I tell people, I think there are signs depending on the person. There's usually a sign somewhere, somehow. But are people taking time to recognize those signs, to see behavior changes? Is there a mood change? Are they withdrawing from things they used to love? Like some of the bigger signs you can see, especially for mental health wise, is I start withdrawing, or you just notice there's just something off
Off.
about
Yeah.
me. Like you may not be able to define it, but you just like people who know me well enough, it's like there's just something not right.
Not right.
You can't put your thumb on it, but there is. So those are those telltale signs of, hey, maybe somebody should approach me and maybe say, hey, you doing okay? You need some help? Is there something going on? It's, I've noticed this and I just want to
Mhm.
know if you need anything or whatever.
So I know that. So some of the work we've done around suicide and talking to people after one of those things happens, a lot of people have said, I knew something was wrong
Mhm.
and I didn't say anything. There seems to be some sort of stigma about reaching out and asking somebody. You don't want to be like, oh, I'm being overreactive or I don't want to be
You're not.
intrusive. How do you help somebody just become better at reaching out?
In regards to suicide or just in
Well, in
general?
general. No,
So
I'm just
I,
yeah, go
I
ahead.
think in general, I just tell people it's when you recognize a change in somebody that you care about, or you recognize a change in someone you know, most of us, sometimes that's even a call for help by that person,
Yeah,
So maybe I tell people there's never any harm in reaching out and just asking.
right.
And if the case is you come and say, "Hey, Layne, I've noticed, something different. Are you doing okay? Is there something I can do to help?" And I look at you like, "I don't need anything, whatever." Well, fine enough. You reached out, you tried to inquire,
Yeah.
but also my reaction might also give you some
Another,
insight too
yeah.
that, hey, well, maybe there is something. You just keep a closer eye on me. You
Okay.
have other people aware of it. But that's what we need to get back to, I think, in our world is people watching out for each other, people paying
Right.
attention to each
Yeah.
other, because we all know
Yeah,
there's
we're all
a
buried like
yeah,
this.
we're all buried and we're all like this. And oh, I need to know about mental health. Somebody Google it. Well, how about you just look at somebody and ask and have a conversation with them?
How does it feels like there is an overabundance of chronic stress that we're exposed to.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm a big blue light blocking guy. I hate the blue
Yep.
light, the
Yep.
non-native EMF, the stuff in the air, the food, the water. We're constantly being assaulted. What do you do yourself, and then what do you tell teachers to do to help with kids who are under this kind of assault?
Well, and we'll go to the technology piece. I tell people we have a lot of issues with our kiddos in the United States. And I'm saying United States because the majority of this research is in the United States. Um, Technology is a big thing.
Yeah.
We've abused it with our children.
Right.
And we've abused it as a society.
Yeah.
And I tell people it's one of the more addictive things on the planet. So
Very
screen
addictive.
time is literally as addictive as some of the illegal substances that people
Yeah.
take.
Digital heroin.
Digital heroin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I tell people, but like blue light, for instance,
Mhm.
like you talk about, that blue light is, I get you see your screen clearer,
Mhm.
things are easier for your vision to see. Problem
Keeps the battery live longer.
yeah, whatever it has. But we also know that blue light, if you view it at night, it tricks your brain into thinking it's daytime.
Mhm.
So if I'm like sitting at home, it's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, sun is set, it's dark, and I pick up my phone and look at it. As soon as I look at it, if that blue light's on, it actually tricks my brain into thinking it's daytime.
Yep.
And so then my melatonin production actually halts
Stops.
and doesn't kick in till later, which is another reason why we got melatonin issues in this
Mhm.
society. Light pollution, blue light, things like
Yeah.
that. And so I tell people it's about just being able to take care of ourselves again. Realize, turn the blue light off on the background of your phone if you need to. Get the blue light glasses and all those other filters
Yeah.
you can try. Because I tell people I am a huge advocate of technology in the fact that we got to stop. Like I tell people, schools need to get technology out. Look at Sweden.
Right.
Sweden did the research for us. Pay attention to
Yeah.
it.
How long did they do?
They did a longitudinal study for like 6 to 8 years
Yeah.
and found out that technology in classrooms and technology use is actually the decline of academics and increase in behavior and emotional responses.
More analog paper.
More paper pencil, more human
Chalkboards.
interaction, which I will say, I was screaming for years that no cell phone should be allowed in schools.
Good.
We got them out. I mean, Texas passed the law of no cell phones in schools. Fantastic. Because even now people are reporting a different outcome with kids. They're talking to each other. They're face to face. They're having those conversations.
So was there a withdrawal period that you noticed with the kids? Where
Some
they
I think
had
I,
some
I think there was this withdrawal period of like kids getting used to not having their cell phones. That always be by their side,
Yeah.
and knowing that it vibrates, I need to check it, the stuff. So there's a withdrawal pattern that we for some kids was probably bigger than others. But now that we're getting on into the school year, I think we're noticing that there's going to be this change in kids that we notice that it's when they're not thinking about their cell phone, they're more focused on everything else around them, their
Yeah.
environment, who's around them, who's with me, having those conversations, more learning, even though we in education got to get a handle on technology use in our schools.
Well, you can't avoid it. I mean, it's a
You
great
can't.
tool. It's a
It is.
wonderful.
It can be an incredible tool.
Yeah.
We've just abused it to no end for
Right.
how many years?
And rely on it as
Rely
kind of
on
a shitty crutch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I tell people you can't replace humans with computers.
Right.
We would implode as a society.
Yeah.
So I love AI. I love technology, but we should be teaching our kids how to use it as a tool, not a toy.
Right.
I work with high schoolers that can't do basic research. They struggle even sending an email, but they can look anything up on TikTok or YouTube.
Right.
So I tell people, when you look at our children in our society, more than any other generation of children on the planet, they have the most technology surrounding them, but they are the most
Worst
technological
outcome?
ignorant, I guess is an easy way to
Mm.
they have a lot of ignorance towards the technology itself. They don't know
Wow.
how to use it to make it as a tool.
It's just an entertainment,
It's an entertainment factor.
mental masturbating all
And
the
I
time.
tell people, it's like, how do I work with high schoolers that have never been taught how to use it as like a Word document type of program to
Mhm.
type something, or spreadsheet on how
Mhm.
to track things? Simple tools like that that can be beneficial when I get out in the world and to be productive. We're missing it. We got cute little reading games and cute little math games, but we're not. That's a game.
Do you see better outcomes with those, or is the outcome worse?
No, the outcomes are worse because
Wow.
we wouldn't still be talking about our education system the way we do if it was working.
So I know that this negative effects from technology can bioaccumulate, meaning they can sit in your body, and I know what I do to kind of release that. What do you think would be a good change to do in schools? So they outlawed the cell phones in schools from morning till afternoon.
Yep.
What other changes would you like to see in the schools?
So it's the changes I actually go around this state and actually the world at this point and preach. More play, more outside, more movement.
Wow, why does that help?
So play literally is the number one thing. So play, movement, and fun are actually the top interventions for academics and behavior.
Play, movement, and fun.
Yep.
Boy,
The more you play, the more you move, and the more fun you have. They're the ultimate interventions for academics and for behavior.
wow.
But I tell people,
For all age groups?
all
Sorry.
of us, all the way through to the day we die.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
So play is the number one brain developer from like birth to age 6.
Wow.
And from 6 to 19, the more I play, the stronger my synapses become, the more my neural pathways can go out. Play is huge. And as I get older, you and I, the more we play, it helps maintain our brain synapses and maintain the
So
parts of our
any
brain.
type of play or specific types of play?
I tell people like a variety of play.
like
Like
board games?
board
Okay.
games, card games, go outside, kick a football, go outside, just a variety. Avoid technology as much as possible.
So you could go wake surf, you could go
All that.
paddle boarding, you
Go
could play kick the
skiing,
can, flashlight tag,
Play Monopoly,
jump on the trampoline,
play Uno.
play Uno.
Just play.
Why do you think there's a hesitancy to implement that in the school systems?
Just to be as honest as I can be, it's because we wrap ourselves around test scores and curriculum. Realizing that the curriculum could be taught with a lot more in-depth knowledge and a lot more thought processes, a lot more connections if we just had fun with it and made it more play-based.
So is that an administration problem, top down? I mean, because I've had
Uh,
good teachers that were really good, and I've had horrible ones.
It's across the board. I tell people we can't keep blaming up and down. We as the adults in education especially need to just start making better decisions for our kids. I've been in Texas pretty much off and on for 30 plus years. I got here, it was teams, then toss, then tax, then I joke, I say star because they put 2 A's in it. And now they're looking at changing it again. Whatever you change it to, that's fine, but it can't be the end all be all on how we grade people, look at people, and grade kids. It's a one-shot test.
Mm.
Even the legislature right now is saying we can't keep using a one-shot test to make decisions on kids. Okay, well, now you're going to make it possibly 3. That's fine, but look for growth, not for a particular cut score or end piece. Did I go from here to here? Did I make some forward momentum in my progress in this? Rather
Man.
than just here's what you got to get. If you don't get here, you're going to get punished or you get graded wrong or whatever else.
Or lose funding.
Lose fund. Yeah. So it's an interesting world. Like I've spent 30 years wrapping my head around it because it drives everything. And I tell people, and in all honesty, like everybody's like, oh, we don't teach to the test. No, the whole state teaches to the test. And people who argue against me, you know full well it is. It's just hard to admit when we're
Is that
stuck
a
in the rut.
pride thing, or that's a job security thing, or
Well,
a
I
tenure
tell
thing? What
people
is it?
it's an interesting thing when egos are invested on test scores. When adult egos and adult feel goods are invested on what where kids get on a test, we're in a bad place because we just put adults in front of kids. Education, it should always be kids first. Kids first, and every decision we make is based off what's best for kids. And while we need checks and balances, we need accountability. I don't deny that. There's a whole lot of other ways we can do it that remove that adult game, so to speak, where I got to win, I got to look better, we got to have better than everybody else, and realize that it's about children.
Yeah.
It is about our kids.
Is anybody listening to you?
Probably the ones that should, or probably I've already got a face on their dartboard somewhere. But I tell people it's about having an honest conversation. Though we got to talk about it, and go look at other countries, go see what other countries do.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you,
We
what's
got
the best
Finland,
state?
we got Canada, we got Norway, we got Sweden, we got all these other countries that are having much better outcomes for their kids. Well, what are they doing?
Yeah, what are they doing?
And we shouldn't be so, I guess, for lack of better terms, arrogant to think that we got it all right.
We're America.
And it's like we can learn from everybody. We can learn from each other. We can learn from what's going on in the world and take the best of what everybody's doing and make it ours.
Well, it's weird because you go out, and I don't want to dog cuss the generations younger. I don't want to be
No.
like this old thing, but you can tell that things have declined.
Yeah.
Horribly.
But
in 20 years.
I feel almost there's a side of me, I think I have a bit of guilt for what's going on in the younger generation because we're the generation before them.
Mm-hmm.
We should have made sure that things were being done, like cut back on the technology, stop with the technology, get them outside, get them to play, get them to
that
exercise.
got pimped to us.
And
though.
we
It
just
got-
kind of went off.
Yeah, it got pimped to us that, this is the solution. This is the next step. This is going to
Oh,
evolve
it's gonna make us better.
faster, better, easier,
Even
more
though
smart.
the reality of it is the people who create the technology know the addiction
They do.
formulas.
They're patented.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I-
So which state in the country is doing the best?
There's quite a few states that are actually readjusting and doing different things. I did some work in Minnesota for a while. They got some cool stuff up there. Wisconsin. Everybody, even Texas has some pockets of interesting things. Like there, I think every state, that's where I wish we were more the United States, because I think every state could learn something from somebody else. And we could create something that would be incredible in this country.
What would you start with?
I would just start with trying to figure out, what I would love is to try and get all 50 states and our territories, just sit down together at a table, say, how does this education thing look for us? What is it you do that you've seen benefit from? What do you do? And just start creating an education system that, we can go back to and say, hey, this is awesome.
Do private schools have better outcomes?
Drowning in blue light. It's messing with your melatonin and focus. Find your calm. Protect your vibe with Lucia Eyes.
Grab a pair at luciaeyes.com. We block blue light, not sleep. Use code YALLCAST for 20% off.
I have nothing against any type of school, to be honest with you, but you got to look at how they're set up. Private schools have a better ability to kind of pick and choose who comes in and who goes out.
Yeah, they're nimble. They can move quicker.
And so it's like, they tend to have sometimes the higher academic achieving students go to their schools.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're going to look better than maybe, or you're academic wise, you might look like you are better performing than, let's say, where I taught inner city.
Yeah.
However, I tell everybody teaching inner city taught me how to do what I do.
Yeah.
And it's a whole nother ballgame because the help needed in our more poverty stricken areas, our inner city areas, the help needed in those areas is so much greater than what a lot of people understand who have never been in those areas.
I want to get into that. I want to ask this question, though, that's an add-on is, so what I noticed with homeschooling our kids is we get done in maybe 2.5 days,
Mhm.
what it takes 5 days. And those 2.5 days are only a few hours and our kids are done and then they're outside playing. Why do you think that? And our kids consistently were testing like a grade or so higher.
Mhm.
Why do you think that it takes 5 days a week in a institutional setting to do what a homeschool?
A lot of it has to do with numbers. Like
Okay.
teaching my own small pocket of kids versus 30.
Right. Okay.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Um, being able to do more play, be outside, do more of those things does nothing but enhance my
Yeah.
ability to learn too. So
Right.
so it's a smaller. We
Okay.
know the research is out there. There isn't a soul on this planet that can argue the research that smaller class sizes are going to be a benefit.
Smaller class sizes.
That has been researched to the teeth for
Yeah.
I don't know how long.
Right.
So when you got classes of 30, 40 kids,
Yeah.
you're struggling.
Yeah.
And so, but to solve that problem, that's a whole monster in its own to try
Yeah.
and figure that entity out.
Yeah.
We've tried things, we've looked at things, we've done things. We'll keep going. I mean, I'm sure, that's one thing that I know a lot of people talk about a lot, but homeschool, you got
Yeah.
you
You're
got
right.
families
It's
and people set
easier.
up. It's just
Yeah.
smaller. It's easier. You already have the relationship because they're
Right.
your kids or neighbor kids or however your homeschool group is set up.
Right.
There's a cohesiveness of relationships too that is
Well, and
just there.
compliance too. Yeah.
And it's not a compliance thing. It's more of a connection thing.
Connection. Connection over compliance.
Most of it is a connection thing. Is what I'm being homeschooled in a homeschool group. My parents aren't the ones teaching me, but my parents' friends or our
Yeah.
family
Neighbor,
or whatever
church,
there.
or
And
whatever.
so you already have that huge connection with these
Mhm.
people that connection piece is, I tell people relationships and connections is the number one thing we got to get back to with all of our kids in schools too is make that connection with kids before I learn. Connection before direction.
Well, and I see that you have that ability. I mean, if we can go back to the inner city stuff, because there's 100 questions around that, but you have the ability. And how did you develop that ability to connect with the kids? When I see quite a few teachers out there who just desire not to connect.
I always tell people, I guess, I always tell people I have dealt with behaviors that most human beings would run away or go fetal and suck their thumb on when they get it. I've been all over the world working with people with severe behaviors, mental health, all that
Give me an
stuff.
example of a severe behavior that would
Oh,
make me.
like coming at you with a knife.
Oh, yeah, that's a good. That's a
you
pretty
know,
severe behavior.
There's a lot of things that like not just like, oh, I'm going to get punched. I mean, I'm going to get hurt if I'm going to be around here. But I tell people it's for whatever reason I've just acquired this ability just to like look at the individual I'm working with, and it's like, okay, what is it that's creating you to do this? What happened? What do I need to do to help you? So I don't look at the behavior as offending me. I don't take anything personal. Your behavior towards me usually has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
But when I take it personal, or I take it like an attack, or I take it that you're ruining my life, or you're upsetting my environment, then my stress goes up.
Okay.
My anxiety goes up. My reaction to you changes. And then what I tell people is I've just got really good at it doesn't bother me.
Even with a
there's
knife
something-
sticking out of your side?
Well, I mean, that's going to be bothersome, but at the same time, it wouldn't
But you
be.
play hockey, so it's all right.
I'm good. So, but I tell people it's, I have been hurt in this job. I've had to go to the hospital. I've had broken bones,
Wow.
but I
And
never.
you're still doing it.
Well, I do, and I love it
Yeah.
because I tell people I get it. I don't wish that upon anybody. I don't
Yeah.
want anyone getting hurt. I don't want anybody doing that. But my philosophy is, okay, well, I don't take it personal. This particular student, this person, this human being has these struggles for a reason that we haven't figured out yet. So this curiosity piece in me is like, why haven't we figured it out?
Mm.
What have we missed? And what do we got to get in there and do to help them out?
So the way you detach the personal
Yeah.
issue of it is there's
I
a
don't take it
struggle that's
personal.
there, there's a trauma, or
I didn't create the trauma in this
Yeah.
human being.
It's just coming
Somebody
out
or
towards
something else
me.
did. I just happen to be here. It's coming out towards me, but I'm not. It's not me. I didn't do this to this human
So do you
being.
feel like these other teachers maybe take that stuff too personally and then internalize
We
it?
do.
Okay.
We just had the conversation today. I tell people, we send teachers and educators out to these classroom management trainings. Go get trained in classroom management, how to run your class to keep behaviors at bay, blah, blah, blah. All these little tools and techniques and everything. And I will tell people, if you want to have good classroom management, you want to have good behavior outcomes around you, it is totally predicated on one thing: your ability to self-regulate and stay calm when chaos hits.
Whoa. Whoa. So my ability to keep myself maintained in a chill state.
While chaos is ensuing.
Wow. So you have to be a Navy SEAL with bullets flying over your head, staying calm.
That wouldn't be bad practice, I
right.
guess, for a little training. But
Clear.
I tell people it's granted, the more severe the behaviors, you're going to need help. You're going to need someone with you. You're going to need outlets or whatever. But for the regular everyday classroom with kiddos in there, 20, 30 kids, what I tell teachers is you have two choices when behavior happens in your classroom. You either add to the chaos or you add to the calmness.
Yeah.
And the one thing that a human brain that's in stress mode, that's in trauma mode, that's in I'm losing it mode is seeking is calm. We will all, whenever there's a huge disruption in our environment, almost every human being is trying to seek the calmest person in the room. So for all of us here, the guys running the podcast out the door right now and everything, something serious happens right now. Are you going to go to the person screaming and panicking? You're going to go to the person who's calm.
Yeah.
Because you have
looking
to
for the
steal calm.
calm
We are
port.
always looking to steal calm.
Yeah.
And the more we're in turmoil and chaos, the more we're trying to steal calm. And I tell people, especially children, because their brains aren't developed fully yet with this whole emotional thing, we're co-regulators with them at all times. So anytime you're around someone who's like 19 years and younger, you're automatically their co-regulator, whether you want
So
to be or
define
not.
co-regulation. I mean, I know what it is.
They're reading
for me.
how you are acting and behaving, and it's affecting how they're going to act and behave. So if you are calm, in a good headspace, you're relaxed, you manage things calmly, they're stealing that from you all day long.
Are they stealing it or are you giving it?
Well,
Or
you're
is it
giving
both?
it, but they steal it too, because you're not always there to give it. Your back might be turned, you might be across the room, but they see your demeanor, they see your calmness, their brain is taking it in.
Hmm.
Now, if you're uptight, you're tense, you can't calm down, you are absolutely putting them on
Jeremy, sit down. Jeremy, sit down.
Shh,
Jeremy,
up
sit
they
down.
go. Up they go.
So what's the different approach then? What does the teacher in that position have to do to calm themselves and then co-regulate
a lot
somebody
of
else?
times, like I tell people, when I do behavior trainings a lot, I spend a lot of time talking to adults about adults.
Mm.
Again, your
Wow.
mental wealth,
Wow.
your self-help. What do you do to take care of yourself? And I will tell you that we're struggling in the teaching world. You'll hear that there's a teacher shortage.
Yeah, I bet.
Teachers have left the teaching field like, man, it is like they just left in droves. Well, it's because we haven't done enough to help not just the children, but the adults who are in the classroom with our kids. Like we
I
need
couldn't be a
better mental
teacher.
health support for our teachers. We need to teach teachers self-care. We got to give teachers permission to, hey, you're having a struggle, let me take your class for 10 minutes. You go for a walk.
Oh,
You know
take
what?
a
You
time
go
out
breathe.
yourself.
Go outside.
Yeah.
Take your time. We have to be able to support each other with this. I tell people we should be supporting each other. It isn't just kids for this too. It's our growing adults that need to help also and take care of them.
Well, how do the school districts provide for that kind of support for the teachers? Because their well-being, I tried to be a teacher one semester at a private school.
Yeah.
I'm a great guest speaker. I can't do a whole fucking semester.
Well, I think the big thing is allowing. I think with teachers, and I'll speak as when I was a classroom teacher and special ed teacher and all the stuff I did. I think just giving us the time and permission to have fun with our students. Like, enjoy the day with our students. Like, we got curriculum to teach. We understand that. We got all this stuff to teach. I think cut back on all the meetings that are going on also.
Ugh.
Like, it seems like every time someone turns around, we got to go to another meeting for something, and this meeting and that meeting, and somebody got this program, somebody got that program, we got this new program. I tell people what our districts need to learn and our school systems need to learn, our education system needs to learn is it isn't your programs, it's your people.
Mm.
So if you're investing more into programs than people, you're done.
Well, isn't that what all of the school districts do?
In this area in our country, for the most part, we do. We buy
Yeah.
lots of programs, but we have to start looking at you can have the absolute and most incredible math program that exists on the planet. You've paid big bucks for it. But if the people using it aren't in the right place,
One
it's the worst
angry,
program.
miserable teacher
worst
doesn't,
program you ever
doesn't work
bought.
at all.
Programs are educational programs are completely reliant on the people that are doing them. So if the better you take care of your people, the better your programming is going to be.
So it sounds like then it is a top-down strategy.
Yeah. Or a bottom up. There's also the part of, I think the top, everybody has to learn from each other. Like it's this weird notion for 32 years I've been in education that, oh, it starts at the top. Oh, it starts at the bottom. No, it starts with all the adults. Those of us on the bottom teach the people at the top the good things that are happening, but the people at the top teach us at the bottom different things that they got also. And it's about meeting each other in the middle and collaborating. This weirdness of, oh, that like there's one overarching person that runs the show. It shouldn't be that way. It should be that we all are in this together. Hey, if I'm a superintendent, like when I had admin positions, I always asked, even my custodians,
Mhm.
hey, what are you seeing in the hallways?
Right.
What do you think we should do better?
Right.
Hey,
Right.
I've talked to my cafeteria workers. Hey, we know when they come in for lunch, like, what do you see?
What do you see? Yeah.
What is it you think we should do? It isn't like I tell people, we can't allow our degrees to silo us from the others.
Mhm.
We got to realize that we need everybody. Like I tell people, one of the greatest behavior interventionist I've seen in my entire career in 32 years was our custodian, Henry,
Really?
in our elementary school.
How?
Greatest human being ever. He just knew how to talk to kids. Kids loved him. We loved him as adults. He just had a knack for just calming people down and having some of our tougher kids just relax with him. Like he had a knack. I learned a lot from our custodian. I probably learned more from him than I did from college courses.
Wow.
But I tell people, but if we're too involved in our degrees and what we call each other and our titles,
Yeah.
we realize that we're leaving out some good learning from other folks that we sometimes don't think about.
Ugh. Man, do you see it getting better?
I do. I see changes this last few years, especially. I've been extra busy going out talking about brain science and more play, more fun, more movement. And the ironic part is the whole education system knows this. Everybody gets it. Everybody says it. But there's a fear factor of if we do it, what if test scores dip? What if curriculum doesn't get taught? What if this doesn't happen? And so we go back to our old behaviors. And so, oh, sorry, Alexa or Siri, whatever you are.
I left my laptop
No,
open.
that's all right. I've done that at home and it's like Alexa answers me. I'm like, I wasn't talking to you.
I don't know. That's the first time
But-
that's happened. There's a
But
poltergeist
here's what
in my
I tell
Mac.
people. It's about creating change. And the one thing I love about brain science is creating change and change and changing behaviors are literally the hardest in anybody who's 19 years and older. So adults are the hardest to create change in,
Yeah.
to change behavior in.
Right.
And it's about how we do it. And the best way to create change is you can't tell me to change. Like buying a program saying you're going to do this program now, the very first thing pretty much every brain is going is make me.
Yeah.
And it is a
Hardwired.
It's a hardwired reaction in us human beings. However, hey, we bought this new program. give it a try for me. See what you think. Give me some feedback.
Oh,
I'll
it's
try
way
the
different,
program.
yeah.
And when I experience something positive with the program, I actually create a chemical reaction in my body that feeds my brain that now starts me on the trajectory of let's change. But until I experience it myself and you give me opportunity to experience that change, I'll probably fight you the whole way along.
So it sounds like that is one of the things that needs to be implemented is those chemical reactions. And so play, movement, being outside,
Having some fun.
turning off the blue lights, getting rid of the freaking Wi-Fi.
Yeah, just unplug. I tell people we got to unplug ourselves and plug back into the world.
Hmm.
You know, just look at things that way, help our kids. But I tell people I want to see teachers laughing and enjoying themselves in their classroom.
They don't
That's
do
the way
that.
it should be.
They don't do that.
We've got this weird uptight, I call it the curmudgeon syndrome. They're just like, and I'm like, I tell teachers it sounds funny, but I'm dead serious. If you look constipated while you're teaching me, I don't want to learn it. Like I don't. If that information makes you look like that, I'm already out.
I'm bloated and constipated.
I'm like
I haven't
done.
shit in 4 days.
It's like I don't.
Welcome to math. Wow, dude. So, all right, let's magic wand. I put it in your hand today. You could change one thing in the education system. Student, teachers, administrators, parents. What would the one thing you would change today be?
Holy man, I got about a million things rattling in my head right now.
All right, top 5.
So, I think the first thing is to go back and realize how important movement, play, and just having fun is, and how beneficial it would be to everything that we are constantly seeking to improve,
Yeah.
that we've spent billions of dollars on in the last 30 years to try and improve. And it's literally, I kid you not, get back to what human beings need the most to learn and to thrive: movement, play, and just a little bit of fun every now and then.
So connection along with that.
Connection before, like I tell people, you got to have connection. If I don't like you, I don't work for you.
Right.
And so we got to get just some of the basic human stuff back.
All right. So that's that side. What would be the number one thing you would tell parents to try and implement to help their kids?
Turn off the screen and get outside.
Turn off the screen and get outside.
So
You
I
heard
know it sounds, I can say it, makes it sound easy. There's a reality to this because of the addiction factors for our parents. So my advice to parents who listen to this, it's something we've practiced with other families. Just sit down with your child and make a little contract. For every minute you're on your device, you owe me a minute outside. So if you want to binge your video games for 3 hours, once that goes off, your video game doesn't go back on for 3 hours till you're outside for 3.
Yeah, we do it the opposite way.
So
you gotta stack that account with the minutes outside
yeah.
first.
So
and
if you're at a point where you can start it that way, that's
Yeah.
the best. But a lot of families I work with, they're already down the rails
yeah,
with the addiction piece. And the one thing about human addiction is when you take my addiction away and you don't tell me I'm going to get it back somehow, it'll always be on my mind.
Yeah.
That's why we have rebound all the time in our
Right.
addiction crises. So
right.
it's an easy way, and it actually turns it to the child where, hey, you want to play your video game and play with your friends online for this long, that's fine. But you got to pay it on the back end now.
Okay.
And it gives children that ability to start now self-monitoring themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're upset because you got to go outside for 3 hours, don't look at me. You decided to play for 3 hours.
Right.
I told you after 10 minutes to turn it off and go outside.
How does a parent break their own addiction?
First thing they can try is at your house, at your home, your apartment, wherever you live, have a place where no screens are allowed. Like screens are off all the time.
One room.
I would
one
suggest
area?
start at the dinner table so you
Okay.
can all have a conversation with your kids.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Uh,
So dinner together, no screens.
no screens. They're
Yeah.
off. And all your phones are in a different room. On, not silent, because they still vibrate.
Yeah.
Just so there's no vibrations, no noise.
Can't hear 'em,
Because
can't see
even
'em.
that vibration is going to kick your addiction in, and you're going to think about nothing else than going to check your phone and why it vibrated.
That cocaine's over on the
Uh,
table. I
yeah,
can get to
yeah.
it.
Yep.
I'm jonesing for it.
Yep. And it'll distract from that interaction at a table.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Are you writing a book?
I've been asked. I would love to. I'm not very. I like to write, but the actual function of writing is not my favorite thing in the world. So I was told I should transcribe and dictate into stuff.
I think you should, dude. I
Yeah.
think you're like our mutual friend said, you're the Andrew Huberman of education in Texas, which is really, really cool.
You know, I tell people like, you know, I am the biggest proponent and the biggest critic of our education system, and I know I say a lot of things in the education world that kind of will make some people upset, but I tell people it's for our kids. It's not. It shouldn't be revolving around bragging about test scores. It should be bragging about, look at the good human beings we're producing.
Right.
Look at these incredible human beings that are coming
Right.
out of our school.
They're worthy of it.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? Like, do you do any consulting?
I do consulting and on usually it's I can give you my contact info and they can get a hold of it that way if you want to put it up somewhere or whatever. And
All right, we'll put
yeah.
it in the show notes.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
good. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming all the way over here and spending this
It's not
time with
that.
us.
I mean, it's just from Dallas to here. It's not
It's
bad.
still a pain in the ass, but I'd like to make this kind of a regular thing. You know,
For sure.
maybe once every 4 months
Let's do
or
it.
6 months, and
Yeah,
see how
let's do
things
it.
are going, and see what's been implemented and what's changing,
Oh, yeah.
and keep
Things
people
always
posted.
change in the brain research world. I'm
Yeah.
telling you. I love
Yeah.
our brain. It is a mess.
Well, Dr. Layne Pethick, thank you so much for being here
Anytime.
on Y'allcast.
Anytime.
Appreciate
It
you,
was a
dude.
blast. Thank you.
Y'allcast disclaimer. Welcome to Y'allcast, where opinions are strong, the coffee is stronger, and absolutely nothing you hear should replace your doctor, lawyer, therapist, or your grandmother's advice. Everything you see or hear here on the podcast, videos, live streams, all of it is for entertainment and information purposes only. The thoughts and opinions you hear belong to whoever is talking and not necessarily to Y'allcast, our partners, affiliates, sponsors, or the great state of Texas. We try to get things right, but hey, like you, we're human, and all information provided is as is, with no reps, warranties, guarantees, and definitely no refunds if you take it too seriously. So if you make a life decision based on this show, we hope it's a good one, but that's on you. Nothing here counts as medical, legal, financial, or relationship advice. If you need that, please go talk to a professional. Sometimes we shout out to brands or products. Most of the time, that's just conversation. But yes, occasionally it's stuff we use every day and genuinely love. Y'allcast and everyone involved here are released, indemnified, and held harmless from whatever happens next. We're just here to make you think, laugh, and maybe question blue light or your Wi-Fi connection. So listen smart, laugh loud, and remember, if you're looking for legal or medical advice, you're on the wrong podcast.